What's up, horror fanatics? I thought this would be an interesting discussion to talk about. Everything wrong with horror movies in today's time. Now, it's a lot of factors that contribute to die-hard horror fans not liking modern-day horror movies, and I compiled some things that definitely play a part in the diminish of these movies. So first, let's talk about the lack of creative content and concepts. Each decade, horror has had a specific type of style. The 1970s was establishing fresh ideas and entertaining material we never seen before. The Exorcist, Jaws, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and that's just the surface. Furthermore, the 1980s adopted that style, but it put its own flavor to it. Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street capitalized off that foundation, and sequels became the normalization. Then the 1990s said, it's time to break new ground and break the standard tradition. You had movies like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Candyman, a couple of child play movies, Leprechaun, The Blair Witch Project, which really revolutionized the horror genre. It was a lot of pivotal filmography during that time. The 2000s is where the controversy starts, especially in the 2010s. I can probably name a handful of classic horror movies from the year 2000 to the year 2019. And it's very discouraging. The lack of creative writing is crippling the horror genre. And contrary to popular belief, box office success is a blessing and a curse, because with the success, you get forced sequels and prequels, which diminishes the original movie's intent. For instance, Paranormal Activity. That franchise ran its course. The first movie was brilliant, and a great way to reintroduce found footage films. The second was like, okay, cool. It didn't add or decrease the original scope of the movie. However, with part 3, it went in a different direction. And I will admit, that movie was one of the best movie experiences ever in a movie theater that I had. But like I mentioned earlier, the success leads to Paranormal Activity 4, Ghost Dimensions, Marked Ones. The sequels became redundant. Which brings me to my point about the lack of creativity. And one thing for sure, we're definitely in the recycling age. It's either remakes or possession movies. The reboots have definitely outstayed their welcome. Just think about the unnecessary remakes we've gotten in this year. You had Pet Sematary, which flopped in the box office by my standards. Same with Child's Play. I really didn't like that movie, but a lot of people did. I considered it a flop, but hey, that's just me. But you had other remakes like Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, Psycho. I can go on and on. We have no new mainstream slashers, and it seems like the script writers can't create a dominant slasher figure. It's literally been the same big 3 slashers, Michael, Freddy, and Jason. So let's transition a little bit and talk about the cinematography and CGI. As far as I'm concerned, it really affects these horror movies. It ticks me off because it makes the movie more fabricated. I mean, can you imagine the 1978 Halloween movie with CGI in certain scenes, or The Exorcist for that matter? I feel like the CGI is more of a lazy way to create scares. Of course it saves time and money, but is it really worth it? Another thing that ticks me off is the comedy and comic relief. We seen how this could take the life out of a movie. For instance, Halloween 2018 had funny moments in the wrong scenes, and it definitely didn't hit with the audience, and it turned me off completely. Same with Jordan Peele's Us. I mean, in one of the scenes, it was a life or death situation, and the family was arguing about who should drive the car based on the kill count. I mean, come on, man. It really turned me off from that movie from there on out. Now I want to talk about what Hollywood has been doing recently. Can we please stop with the complex, psychological, disturbing type movies? And in particular, I'm talking about A24. They had The Witch, Hereditary, and Midsommar. Those movies try so hard to be disturbing and confusing, and I personally didn't like those movies. And yes, the stories are super easy to understand, but for the casual horror fans, it can be overwhelming. Especially when you throw in old naked people and think that's supposed to scare you when in reality it's hilarious. Just think about the movies that involve old naked people. We just seen one in Midsommar, and then Hereditary had some, and then in the new previews of It Chapter 2, we get to see an old naked woman. And finally, to conclude my rant about horror movies, kids do not make horror movies scarier. And it seems like they try to throw in a 10-year-old and add some kind of demonic backstory to force the audience to be scared. And it's challenging the audience integrity, just like mediocre jump scares. So that's all I had to say. I felt like I had to get this rant discussion off my chest, and hopefully it sparked some conversation. With that being said, please subscribe to my channel if you love horror movies, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you can see every time I upload. Be safe. Peace.